guests, proud parents, and beloved students. Welcome to the students' individual presentation for Year 12 Introduce myself. My name is Rahadi, and I will be your moderator for this session. So after going through the journey of high school for the past 3 years, all Year 12 students will go through a commission project, a mandatory project from Cikal and as a requirement to graduate. The project is also a medium for students to demonstrate the Cikal competencies that has developed throughout the years. So they choose specific issues, investigated the needs in the community, then proposed an action plan in order to solve the issue. Today, they will present their journey from the past 6 months in doing this project. So this year's for the project is empowering the future, aiming to achieve their targeted competencies and dimension. So we see the culmination project as one of the ways to elevate the students' creativity to solving issues that they present in their culminating project. So I think that's enough to briefly the concept of culminating project. Now let's welcome the presentations. So I have to greet, there will be 5 presentations, yeah. There will be Arla here. Can you please turn on your camera? Please greet your audience. And Armin, Mahardhika Santosa. Armin. And then, yeah, thank you. And then Reuben, Ezera Agus. Rifqi, Muhamad, Harshad, and Soultan, Harsya. So without further ado, please give a warm welcome to our first presenter. So Arla, you may take place. Aria.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, time is yours.
Thank you. Our social being or social situation. So for my problem statement for this project is also
Go.
okay. Can I start now? Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Aria, and for today I'll be presenting my culminating project, Bored Buddies. So before I start off, I just need to ask a simple question. Have you ever felt bored or lonely during this pandemic? Now, maybe most of you might say yes, and maybe some of you also may say no, but personally, I have definitely felt lonely and bored during this pandemic. And it kind of bugs me, and it's kind of a big issue for me. And even from my surveys that I did that I'll be showing you later, a lot of my friends also feel lonely and bored during this pandemic, and it's also bothers them. So my main topic for this project is boredom and willingness. And I'll be defining these terms briefly now. So boredom is a feeling when our activities is not engaging enough for us, and thus resulting in us being uninterested in our activities and resulting in boredom. Now, for loneliness, it is defined as when our social need is not fulfilled. So, for example, we are alone in like a crowd or something, and then we feel and our social needs not fulfilled, and thus resulting in being lonely. Now, both of this both of these terms and feelings or emotions can be connected because both of these are rooted from dissatisfaction. When we're bored, we're unsatisfied with our activity, and when we're lonely, we're satisfied with our social being or social situation. Now, my problem statement for this project is that Alter Agents, Los Angeles-based market research company, and the company that manages Snapchat, Snap Inc., did an online survey involving 30,000 people from around the globe. Now, from the 30,000 people, 2,500 of them are Indonesian citizens. And the result that they got is that the number of Indonesians with loneliness has increased by 18% compared to pre-pandemic days. Now, I couldn't really find a boredom-based large survey, but I did a small survey with 14 of my friends, and this is the result. I asked them if they ever felt lonely or bored during quarantine, and also if it bothers them. Now, as you can see, most of them said yes, they ever felt lonely. 100% said they get bored a lot, and even 92.3% say it bothers them. Now, for lonely, 92.9% said yes, and for does it bother them, 84.6% said yes, it does. And my research question for this project is how can we defend boredom and loneliness, and how can we overcome them during the pandemic? Now, this is my concept map. For my research question, as I said before, is how can we defend boredom and loneliness, and how do we overcome them during this pandemic? And my action is to create a platform where I can share recommendations of things to do when someone's bored. Now, my final product was, I had two ideas for my final product. Either I was going to make an Instagram page or website, but I'll circle back into this later. And for things to do, I was going to identify the problem, find a possible solution, design a product, and do my research. And this is my timeline. So first, I had to identify the issue. Second, I started content planning. And third, I started designing and posting the content. And lastly, I used my essay and also gained feedback from other people. So this is my first phase. As you can see, this is my project idea doc that I made, including the issue, research question, the idea, and things to do. And as you can see here, there's also a table with Instagram page and website. And this is where I laid out the pros and cons. Either I was going to make an Instagram page or website, but I decided to make an Instagram page because I feel like it is easier for me to make. It is more familiar to me. And I feel like a lot of people I know use Instagram nowadays on a daily basis. And that it is easier for me to gain interactions and also view my interactions. Now, my second phase is that I was going to plan the content. In this slide, we can see a mood board that I made. And also I did a survey that I shared, and it is basically just asking other people for the recommendations that I could possibly put in the content. And on the bottom here, we can see the content plan that I made for the week, and it includes the post title and description, list of items, date of posting, caption, and also their status. And third phase is that I was going to design the post for my Instagram, and this is just a screenshot of the editing software that I used. And fourth phase is that I was going to write the final essay and collect feedback from other people. And here you can see my essay, and also I did an interview with Clara Abuso, who is a psychology student in Universitas Indonesia, and I asked her a couple of questions relating to boredom and loneliness, just so I can get, because she did her own research on loneliness and boredom. And this is also a feedback form. And this is my final product. It is an Instagram page, and it has content like movie recommendations, songs recommendations, games recommendations, books, and things to do to get relaxed, and also show recommendations. And this is the feedback I got from this project that I got from the feedback form. A lot of them are positive, and even some of them said that I should continue this project, which I'm thinking about right now. And this is the Cikal competencies I feel like I developed, which is innovative and committed. For innovative, I felt like during this whole process, I had to constantly be creative and innovate new ideas. And for committed, I constantly have to run on a tight schedule because 1.5 weeks before the project deadline, I decided to change my topic. And I was running on a really, really tight schedule, and I had to be constantly committed to my project. And for reflection, after finishing this project, I feel very, very satisfied with how my final product turned out. I was able to try and sharpen my skill in graphic designing, which I'm very happy. And I didn't regret changing my project as a PLM project, although it was hard for me to do everything only in 1.5 weeks. I was able to overcome it, and it was a really, really fun learning process. I'm also very, very happy by the feedback that I received from my friends, and they all praised my aesthetic page, and also how the contents are really, really good. And I hope this project can bring a positive impact to the community, and also help people who might feel lonely and bored overcome their boredom. Now, before I conclude this presentation, I would like to give special thanks to Prasadi for being one of the best mentors, and also Luna and Lara for being my mental support and my emotional support. Without them, I feel like I would literally give up. And Board Buddy supporters, people who supported Board Buddies from the start, and people who follow and like and track with Board Buddies filled my form. And yeah, that's it for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow. Thank you, Aria, for sharing your delightful journey. So please give her a round of applause using chat room. Yeah. And let's moving on to the next presenter. Yeah. Now please welcome Armin Mahardhika Santoso. So Armin,
yes,
the spotlight is yours.
Thank you, Prasadi. Hi everyone, my name is Armin, and I'm going to be explaining about my Culminating project with the topic how COVID-19 pandemic affected micro-local culinary businesses in Indonesia. The subject base of my topic is about culinary and social science. Let's now talk about the condition of micro-culinary businesses in Indonesia. As we all know, Indonesia has thousands of local food businesses across the country. Each and every one of them has their own unique characteristic. That is what made Indonesia an amazing country. For the past years, the consumer of these micro-culinary businesses has been decreasing. The reason behind it is because there are many foreign food businesses that want to expand their business in Indonesia. Due to those circumstances, many people are starting to prefer eating or trying new things. For example, Korean or Japanese food. Those are the examples of foreign food that affected the sales of those micro-culinary businesses. But everything really turned upside down when COVID arrived in Indonesia. That is when every business sector, literally everyone, are affected by the pandemic. The pandemic spread by contact between people, and that triggers the government to make a few regulations to prevent COVID from spreading. Those regulations, for example, are wearing masks and do social distancing. And those regulations are what made those micro-culinary businesses having a hard time surviving in this pandemic. Most micro-culinary businesses don't have a proper place like mid-high-end restaurants do. Some of them go by residential and some of them go by foot. And the environment mostly does not support those regulations. For example, the environment isn't clean enough, or when having a lot of customers, they don't really do social distancing and all that stuff. That is what makes people not want to come to these kind of environments, and they rather eat at home. Then after realizing that many businesses are shaken with this pandemic, I developed a survey asking micro-culinary business owners about how this COVID pandemic affected their business. Well, according to my survey, the result is that 40% of people who responded felt their business was shaken, and the other 40% felt really shaken, and the last 20% felt a little shaken. But from what I see, everyone who responded had hard times adapting to the situation too. After doing the survey, I came up with 2 ideas for my product, which is a website or an Instagram page. But then I decided to do an Instagram page because, well, nowadays people spend most of their time on social media compared to websites. After that, I began to do the content recording where I reviewed 3 businesses. This is my timeline. And at the 3rd business, I also interviewed the business owner regarding how the pandemic affected their business. And after getting the footage I needed, began editing the video, and now the videos are finished and are already uploaded in Culinary's Instagram page. If you like to check it out on Instagram, it's called Culinary. You can search it there and find it easily. And after doing this culminating project and after finishing the product, I felt happy and stressed at the same time because while doing this project, I was also doing preparation for college. And other than that, I've done so many things too. One of them is when doing research or finding information. There are many aspects and scopes that needs to be searched in order to really know about a certain topic. I think that's it from me, and thank you for listening from my CP presentation.
Okay, thank you, Armin, for sharing your journey. Now, you can give a round of applause using a chat room. Yeah. And moving on to the next presenter. Yeah. Now we will welcome Reuben as the next presenter. Reuben, are you ready? Okay, you may take place. Thank you, Reuben. For the audience, yeah, you may use the chat room if you want to raising a questions to the one of the presenter. So by the end of all the presentations, we can discuss through the Q&A session. Reuben.
Okay. Hi, my name is Reuben, and I'll be presenting about my culminating project entitled An Inquiry into Protest Music. Okay. First, let's talk about music nowadays. Mostly songs today sing about love, happiness, having fun, human emotion, pain, and sadness. But how often do you hear protest music on the radio or on TikTok or maybe in your Instagram feed? So what is protest music? Protest music refers to music with the objective of delivering a message and making change. These songs talk about important issues that are worth paying attention to, be it racism, discrimination, social injustice, climate change, and so on. In the past, many oppressed groups have been awakened to fight their oppressors. And this shows just how effective protest music is. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, freedom songs serve to give unity to a movement. When the government and education system are under the control of the oppressor, protest music becomes one of the only ways to fight those oppressors. In this project, my aim is to share what I found after diving deep into the topic of music as a form of protest, and also to raise awareness about the issues brought up by protest songs. And I did that in the form of an Instagram page. The reason I chose this is because I wanted to find a way to combine my passion, which is music, while also combining that with topics that are worth paying attention to, like the ones I mentioned previously. So phase one of this project is the research phase. I dove deep into protest music, and I searched for songs that talk about these issues and analyzed them. I found these through surveying and online research. And in this phase, I also brainstormed ideas for my Instagram page, and I planned my content as well. In the next phase, I started working on the product. I started writing content material for my page, which I eventually published. I designed my posts, and in this phase, I also continued the research that I've been doing in the previous phase. And in the final phase, I finally launched my project, my page. I started posting my posts, and I promoted my page. This is my Instagram page. I named it Reuben's Inquiry. I started posting an about my page section, basically explaining what I intend to do, what my page is about. And then after that, I posted general explanations about protest music, such as what it is, the history behind it, and what kind of impact it has on people. Then after that, I started posting song analysis posts about songs that fall under the category of protest music. My first song analysis post is the song Venushka by the Japanese metal band Dir and Grey, which, as you can see here, is about war and Japan's imperial past. In this post, I put the front cover is the song title with the album name and the album cover. I then explained the meaning of the song title, which is in Russian, meaning guilt. I also put a picture of the band somewhere in this post. I too included lyrics from the song, as well as its translation, and an explanation of its corresponding music video, which is also connected to the meaning. Okay. So throughout this project, the challenges I had were, well, mainly procrastination. If I hadn't procrastinated, I probably would have. Procrastination is what hindered me from doing better research and getting better results. And getting better results would have improved the credibility of the information I deliver and my project as a whole. Also, since this is my first time creating a social media page like this, I got nervous and I got anxious too about what people would think and how this whole project will go. But either way, during this project, I still had a lot of fun doing it, and I learned a lot of new things. And I feel this is also a good chance for me to step outside of my comfort zone and try something new. If I could do this project recently, if I could redo this project, I would have put more effort into research, because, as I said, that would improve the quality of the information I delivered, and that would improve my project as a whole. That is all for me. Thank you for listening. If you want, for more details, you can go to my page and the CP exhibition site, and you can follow my page here, Reubens.inquiry. And once you're done checking out my page, please do fill in the feedback form. Honest feedback and criticism is highly appreciated. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Reuben, for sharing your CP. So give you a round of applause. Yeah, you can use a reaction using chat room. And let's moving forward to the next presenter. Yeah, the next presenter will be Rifqi. So Rifqi Muhamad Harshad. So Rifqi.
Okay, hold on.
Okay. Okay, Rifqi, spotlight is yours.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rifqi Harshad, and the title of my project is Find the Music. So, music. American poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow once wrote that music is a universal language, which, when you think of it, it is true. But a comprehensive scientific study by Harvard in 2019 confirms the writing. So, yes, as you can see, my topic is music. But what about music? Some people might say, just something that you listen to. Music has a role for many of us, and there's many psychological benefit of it. So imagine this: a time where people are socially isolated, interaction are limited, and our mental health get impacted negatively. The time that I'm talking about is the pandemic, and mental health is considered as a big concern in this COVID-19. Stress and anxiety have been noted as a normal response to this pandemic. Research by universities in UK shows that anxiety level had increased since the beginning of the pandemic. Social isolation has created an increased need for mental health support, but the isolation is making help rather difficult to get. So the role of music in the pandemic. Music can help people to cope with stress. Music listening has been shown to decrease state anxiety. A survey by Harmin and an independent research group said that music is the most common way for people to cope with the pandemic. 80% of the people surveyed saying so. So the power that music holds is important, especially in this pandemic. It's very valuable. And I believe music has a significance for every individual, whether it is big or small. Music is a fine medium that can connect us to many things. It can connect us to memories, can connect us to other people, and also connect the emotions of oneself. So I conducted a survey about the role of music to you and how did it help you. And does listening to music help you in this pandemic? 34 responses, 91% said yes, it had helped me in this pandemic. And this is some point of view about the role of music for people. Some say that music is a simple yet universal language. Music is like sharing a feeling that we connect with others as well. And music is an outlet for bringing forward messages, issues, and awareness, and also discovering music and sharing music provides a new perspective on what people listen and how it affects them throughout the pandemic. That is what people said. So I interviewed an expert back in November, Utari, who is a psychologist, and she said that my biggest takeaway from the interview is sharing and discovering music and also appreciating them inflicts joy among people, joy and positive emotions. So my question and what this project is trying to answer and solve is how can we as a collective tackle the problems of the pandemic with music? So I focused on the two impact of music, the benefits, which is help with well-being and also connects people. I want to achieve that by emphasizing on music sharing and discovery and also music appreciation. So this is my concept map, kind of music. My research question is, can music be a platform to connect people in the era of the pandemic? And question to identify and also solve is, how can we connect people and also fully maximize the potential of music for the product? And my action is to gather resources and people to contribute this project and also find the proper product, which led me to Panda Music. Panda Music is a platform to share and also discover music in the era of the pandemic. It is a compilation of project and contents about music for people to share, discover, and enjoy, appreciate it. The journey to Panda Music from October 2021 to March 2022. So the first phase is idea and research. So on October, I developed the general idea, and on November, to strengthen the idea, I survey, interview, and research a couple of people. And in November, I finalized the project idea. So this is some of the draft that I made, some survey, product planning. Also for the interview, I did it in this phase. And also this is a sketch for one of my products, which is a song wall, which I'm gonna explain it later. So at the end of second semester of year 11, I had an idea to make an art platform that promotes inclusivity and connectivity among the school community. The project was set to be my culminating project for year 12. Some students turned out to have the same inspiration, and the project became the Cikal Arts Collective, and which eliminates my option of making Cikal Arts Collective my CP. And I wanted to challenge myself to making a new project with the same, some of the same qualities and ideas. So my initial idea at the beginning of the project is I want to create an event or media that celebrates the art of music, making people discover and add their knowledge to music is my goal. While doing that, I want to connect the relationship between people and music, how music makes people feel and how it brings them together, and also the history of people, humans, and music. And after some consideration for the idea, I reflect on how music has affected me personally and what role does music play in my life. Music shaped my pandemic. I conquered the struggles of the pandemic with the help of music. This pandemic has shaped a huge part of my personality. Music is one of the agents of it. So music helped me with my loneliness, my stress, and it also helped me with my identity. When discovering and sharing music, I feel a great sense of positivity. It's one of my favorite things to do during the pandemic. And after adding my personal interest, the idea has developed into making a platform for people to connect, improve their well-being, and appreciate music through sharing and discovering music. So phase 2 of the project is executing the project. I gathered the resources in late November and executed the project in December and collecting the project results in December to January. So this is one of my projects. It is a public installation, interactive, which is a song wall where people could write a song in a wall in each bubble that connect to a statement. And yeah, people are free to write any songs they want. And the place is in school. And second part, this is the result of it. It has collected many participation, many songs in the wall. So I'm very proud of it. And second is collaborative playlists where people can add songs in the playlist, and I designed a poster myself and put them in the school walls where people can scan, and when you scan it, it links to the playlist, and the playlist is connected to an emotion, a single emotion. So if you want, you can scan the playlist now, or yeah. So the third phase is publishing and promoting. So I compiled the project and starting a website in January and finalized the website in early February and publishing and promoting in February, middle of February. During this phase, I decided to compile all the projects that I've done, my collaborative playlist and songwall, and made a website. The Panda Music website was made in this phase. So the Panda Music website is where all of the projects were compiled. There are many additional contents in the website, but where it also emphasizes music discovery and sharing and appreciation. As you can see, there's music in the internet where I recommend people on the musical contents that is in the internet, and many more. So the feedbacks of the website is very positive. I could say that 100% of them had a good experience in the website. Many people said that it provides a new perspective on what people listen, and in the website it is very creative and eye-catching. It's very well designed, informative, and it urged them to discover new music, and yeah, and so forth. And the Cikal competencies that I've learned here is cooperative, because this community built this project. It wouldn't happen without the involvement of people, humans, and it has also pushed me to become cooperative. And reflective, this project requires the participants to assess their emotions and reflect. Also, for me personally, I have to reflect and assess my emotions to get even the general idea at the beginning. Open-minded, this project would not be in the same effect as open-mindedness, because there's a lot of people sharing their own perspective on music and point of view taste. So to get the point of this project, you have to be open-minded as well. For myself, I need to be open-minded. and communicative. So my personal goal for this project is to be communicative because I haven't been communicative for most of my life. So it is something that I really wanted to do. The reflection. For me, the project was a success. The project successfully created huge involvement by people inside or outside the school. And they contributed to making the playlist and recommending songs and just participate on the projects, the contents also. A lot of the involvement reflects the enthusiasm they have for music, and we could learn many points of view of how music impacted their life. What mesmerized me the most is the different tastes, opinions, and points of view of music to each individual. Like, for example, people put different songs in the playlist, so different songs for the same emotions. That is such an amazing thing to see for me, and it is also a huge learning step for me because this project involves a lot of people and a lot of collaboration by people. And yeah, I think it is a fun project to do, and I hope I can continue this project in the future. Yeah. I think that's all for me. Yes.
Thank you, Rifqi. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing your journey, yeah. And give it a round of applause for Rifqi, yeah, for sharing his moment. Last but not least, we're moving on to the next presenter. We will please welcome Harsha. Sultan Harsya.
Ini langsung share screen aja ya, Pak?
Sultan? Yeah, just go on.
Okay.
So the spotlight is yours, Harsya.
Hello everyone, my name is Soultan Ratuliu from year 12 Social Sekolah Cikal Serpong. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to explain to you guys about my Culminating project through a presentation. So my topic is how important love language in a relationship. So the content that I'm going to present in the next 3 until 5 minutes or maybe more is going to be background, product, timeline, and result. So the subject that I have decided to choose is PSC psychology because it is related to my project, and the competencies that I have included in this project is caring, communicative, and balance. So basically, my project is a podcast series about common issues happening around us. But specifically, we are mostly talking about love language. And my podcast title is PodSam. Basically, the word pod comes from pod in the word podcast. And the Sam is how I am called, Samsul. And then the aim of this podcast is I want to raise awareness about how important love language in a relationship. And my goal of this project is basically I want to tell people that we are surrounded by love. And so hold on, give me a second. So the objective of my project is I want to improve the relationship quality among the youth by raising awareness about love language, and I want to tell people that we are surrounded by love, like every individuals are surrounded by love. And then the idea of choosing this specific topic basically came from my concern to people around me, specifically towards my family. Most of them still struggle with how they love or how they want to be loved. Supported by my resolution in 2022 and how I reflect myself back in 2021, I want to be more helpful towards people around me, and then especially to people that are meaningful to my life. As a small action, that is the start of this year's resolution, I decided to create a small talk through a podcast talking about love language. So, language has a broad meaning. According to Robert Henry Robbins, Emeritus Professor of General Linguistics, University of London, language is a system of conventional spoken, manual sign, or written symbol by means of which human beings, as members of a social group and participants in its culture, express themselves. The function of language include communication, the expression of identity, play, imaginative expression, and emotional release. But when it comes to the word expressing, there is a term called love language. 5 love language are 5 different ways to express love on the emotional level. This is Dr. Gary Chapman, PhD. He is the author of love language. So the concept of love language was first developed by him through his book called The 5 Love Language, The Secret to Love That Lasts. And the book was published back in 1992. So through his book, he mentioned that there are 5 main ways of loving: physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, and receiving gifts. And in an interview, Dr. Gary Chapman said, love language are designed to help couples or individuals to really care about each other, to express love in the most meaningful way to the other person. Okay, so basically, this is my product, which is a podcast series. So here are the cover arts, and if you want to listen to my podcast, there is the QR code, and you can scan it directly. And then the reason for me choosing podcast over any other method is because the accessibility. We all know that podcast is very easy to access, and most of the podcast episodes are free. And then the choice of episode that we can choose is there's a lot of choice of episode in podcast platform. And then the digital advantage makes a podcast producer have a larger reach, because we all know that digital era makes everything easier, you know. And then moving on to the timeline. So I divided my timeline into 3 phases. The first phase is planning, research, interviews, and the proposal writing. In the beginning of my first idea before picking this topic is making a culinary video and food recommendation around South Jakarta to help small business around the area. And then the second idea is actually a role play video about love language. And then the third idea is a podcast series with my friends, but I decided to run this podcast alone because I feel more comfortable. And then the second phase is the research process. And then I conducted a research about love language, and these are the response. And then these are the second question, and most of them answered yes. And then on one of the question in my survey, I asked my respondent, it is important to understand love language, and I have chose the best answer, and here are the best answer for me. And most of them agree that love language is important. And so the second phase is the recording process and the project action. So the project action, which is the recording session, is for me is the most challenging part of this project. Personally, I am not good at talking to people because I am more of a listener kind of person. When there is a conversation, I mostly observe the conversation and not take a lot of part in the conversation. I mostly feel anxious when talking to people because of the reactions of the people, the facial expression that I have to face, and the eye contact. But I challenge myself through this project. I challenge myself to host a podcast series, which are the people that guide the episode, that holds the rhythm of an episode. And then moving on to the third phase. So the third phase is the finishing, the writing, the CP report essay is the part of the third phase. So the CP report essay, so basically CP report essay is like a journal, and then we have to upload our journal in the Google site. And then so here are the result of my podcast series. So I have collected in total of 153 listeners from both episodes. And then here are the data that I have collected from the platform. So the age range is mostly from 18 to 22. And my listeners are mostly from Indonesia because, yeah, we all know that my podcast are using the Bahasa. So my target audience is also Indonesian people. And then the Cikal competencies that I have developed in these project is communicative, balance, and caring. But the most competencies that I have developed the most is communicative because, like I have mentioned before, I'm not good at talking, and I challenge myself to host a podcast series. So I have developed my communication skills in this project. And the challenge that I have faced in this project is procrastinating, time management, and commitment. The most challenging challenge that I have faced is procrastinating because procrastinating took a lot of time, the procrastinating. And then here are the feedback and reaction for my podcast. And then for me, the best feedback that I have collected is this one. Because and then that's all from me. That's my project. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Harsha, for sharing your journey. So with all that, all the presenters have done presenting their journey. So next up, I would like to invite the audiences to ask questions to the presenters. So let's begin the Q&A session. So the audiences, feel free if you want to ask presenters, please write it down on the chat room. Yeah. So can I have one question, please? Okay. So this is the question for all the presenters. So what does the impact of this project to you and the community surround you? Can you please just answer it in briefly? Thank you. Maybe we can start from the first one.
I can.
Aria, maybe. Okay, sure. Or Rifqi. Okay.
I think for my project, I managed to make people interact, connect, although not really directly, but people really are enthusiastic on, getting involved in my project. So I think it's a very good thing for the community.
So you feel connected with the music itself?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. The other? Or maybe you have a certain expectation to this project.
Can you repeat the
surrounding?
The
The question is about how much this project, are expected to change you or maybe to change the community surrounding you?
Okay, so
Aria, maybe?
yeah, I'll answer. So through my research I've done, there are multiple negative effects of loneliness and boredom. And I hope that with this project, I can help other people overcome their boredom and loneliness because it has negative effects. That's my answer.
Okay, so bring up the good vibes to everyone, yeah, with using your hobbies or your. Okay, Harsha, maybe you want to add something?
So the I hope from my podcast episode that I have released, I hope that the listener will have a better understanding of love language. Because for me, love language is one of the most essential, important thing, because knowing love language can make you feel more better.
Yeah, very strong message. Thank you, Harsha. Reuben, maybe do you want to add something? Or Armin?
Yeah, maybe for me, by doing this project, I can help those micro culinary businesses help contribute to give them exposure to the media in this kind of situation, in this COVID-19 situation.
Thank you, Armin. Reuben, you want to say something?
Yes. Sorry, what was the question?
So basically, what is your expectation to the people who gonna listen to your project or joining to your project? What is your expectation?
As I said, my goal is to raise awareness raise awareness about the issues that brought up by the songs that I talk about. But at the same time, I also want to introduce people to new music, which is why I'm doing all of these songs on posts, protest songs.
Okay. So I hope that we can continue to discuss about this further. Yeah, but time has come. So I would like to remind you for all the speed talk. We'll continue to another session. Will be another session 3. And please check the YouTube channel of Sekolah Cikal office to the other talks. So the coordinating project even doesn't stop today. We hope to see you all again later this afternoon. So there will be an exhibition with all the year 12 students at 1:30 p.m. So everyone can live stream at the CP exhibition at Sekolah Cikal official YouTube. So lastly, I would like to say thank you for you one more time to all of the audience here today, the mentors, fellow students, proud parents, and also respected guests. So thank you for having me as your host. So good afternoon and see you in the exhibition. So congrats for all the presenter, and maybe we see you again at the next session, yeah. So again, good job and congratulations for all the presenter team. Kudos. Thank you.